What's up, everybody? Welcome to this training on triggering the transformation from struggling trainer, which I once was, to successful gym owner, which I am now, which is cool. I'm going to follow along with my cursor, so I'm going to highlight things as we go, but I'll get right into it. Basically, what I want to help you do is work less hours in the gym, so you're not getting in there at 4 a.m. and leaving at 8 o'clock at night. Help you have less stress, which I've definitely have felt as a gym owner. It's like a stressful thing. Owning a business in general is just stressful, and we're not going to take every ounce of stress away, but definitely want to take reduce it for you, help you make more money. Right? I know a lot of people that own gyms are struggling to make a livable wage, and sometimes people are find going saying I was making more money as a trainer as I am as a gym owner. And the last thing is to enjoy life, to really, enjoy the fruit of your labor. What you do is really important, right? And what I do, right? I'm going to tell you my story in a second, but you do important work that really matters in the world. It matters to your community, and I want you to enjoy the ride while you're doing something good for a lot of other people. I don't want you to get paid at the same thing. So I'll tell you guys my story. I basically opened my gym in 2008 with no clue how to run a business. I was the trainer guy, and a lot of people know me as a business guy now. But I was the trainer with every certification known to man. I was obsessed with the product, obsessed with it, and I decided to open a gym, for whatever reason, and I had no clue how to run a business. I knew how to train people, no clue how to run a business. I did a really bad job in the very beginning of managing my money, right? I wasn't good at making money. I wasn't good at managing money. And I ran out of money. I ended up, I remember looking in my bank account and having a big tax bill coming and realizing I did not have enough money to cover the tax bill, which was really, really horrible. And I was stressed to the gills, and I almost quit and got a job. I really did. I remember going to my dad, who was a financial advisor, and I was just like, "Hey, Dad, I don't know if I have what it takes to run this gym thing. I'm like working my butt off. I'm not making any money, and I'm in like now I got this tax bill looming." And he gave me some really good advice. He's like, hey, you have proven you can train people, proven you know how to get results and stuff like that. But you just haven't proven that you're good at running a business, and it's a skill. It's just something that you need to learn. He's like, so you better get someone to teach you to learn how to run a business. My dad was, I wouldn't call him, he was a business owner for a short period of time, but more of a financial guy. So recommended I go out and find someone that had, run gyms before that taught me how to do it. And that's what I did. I got mentors that people told me how to run a business, how to run a gym, how to market a gym, how to, grow a client base, but also how to manage money, right? That was a big thing for me, was just the money situation was just so hard, and keeping track of everything was confusing. And I knew how much the 345s on each side of the bar, I knew that was 315. But when I looked at that statement that the accountant sent over at the end of the month, and I was just like, I don't know how to read any of this stuff, man. So I had to learn, right? I had to learn. I ended up, I just over a longer period of time went from broke to building a gym that did 1.6 million in revenue, and that just it still runs today. So I'm bringing this presentation to you as a coach for gym owners, right? But I still own a gym. My gym's, as I record this now, my gym's been open for 18 years, and it's running at a super high level. So it's not showing any signs of slowing down. So I've built something that has lasted over the course of recessions and pandemics and things like that. And I want to share some of those things with you. Today, most of my day is spent teaching gym owners how to do this. That's kind of what my day is spent. I have some really great people that are running my gym. So I get to do stuff like this and help gym owners change their life, right? So hopefully that is you. So that's my story. So let's go to the first thing. This is the kind of identity shift. The identity shift that I had, right? I had to go from this trainer that owned a business, okay, to a business owner, right? And that's probably you. Like you're probably, if you're watching this video, a trainer who owns a gym, right? Versus a business owner who runs a gym owner who runs a business, right? Your calendar is probably busy, right? You're probably doing a lot of sessions, which most of the people who come to me, they're working hard. And it's important. You got to do that in the beginning. Yeah, for sure. But you just don't want to do it, forever. The problem is if you put yourself in a situation where the business only makes money when you're out on the floor, that's going to end up making you tired, after a while. So we got to um, kind of get rid of this hustle mentality and relying on you and relying on, how talented you are, instead of things like systems and leadership and creating predictable revenue, which I'll show you how to do today. And again, if you're like I was, in the very beginning, like if you're like over obsessed with the training, if you like can't hire anybody because they'll never be able to do as good as you, but you have like systems that are like super complicated because it's your proprietary thing. It's just like I get it, as a trainer junkie myself, but at the end of the day, if we're like too obsessed, it's hard to create a really a good business around that. Again, you could create a good business around that, but at the end of the day, it's hard to grow a business around that. So what we want to become, ideally, is a trainer who runs a business, right? And we want to build something that can grow without you because of the team and systems that you put in place, and the standards run the business, not just your energy all the time. You're a gym owner that runs a business when you're making good decisions on stuff that's real, like numbers and strategy and long-term value and not your emotions, right? And that's what we gotta get out of that. We gotta get out of making decisions based on how we feel that day and making decisions in our business based on what's reality and what's real. Okay. And the last thing is you dedicate yourself to learning how to becoming a better business owner. I told you like I was the trainer geek that read all the training books and did all that stuff. And it wasn't until I shifted the education about business from trading. Now, it doesn't mean you don't read training books anymore, or you don't go to seminars anymore, but it just means you have to understand that this business thing is a skill, right? This business thing is a skill, and we have to learn. We have to learn about it. So hopefully, this training gets you to learn some things. Okay, and so like, what are the first things that will get us out of this personal trainer that runs a gym mindset to this gym owner who runs a business mindset is this concept of the time value shift. Now, I'll make this really simple and clear for you. So there is a dollar amount um, to every task in your gym, right? There's a certain amount of money that, is it takes to do that thing, if you will. All right. And so you can probably find someone to sweep the floor at your gym for $10 an hour. Again, I'm ballparking here on these numbers, right? New York City, you probably get more than that. So $10 training a session, $20 an hour, closing a sale, $30 an hour, generating leads, $40 an hour, and leading a team is $100 an hour work. And where I see trainers get stuck, right, is they have a business where they're doing these kind of first two low value tasks, right? They're sweeping the floor and they're training the sessions, and they never get to the point where they're doing or spending enough time on the higher value activities. And that's really what's going to cause your business to grow. If you start spending time on the higher value activities, if it like, like if you're a lawyer and you have either you can have a billable hour of $800 an hour, or you can, be, cleaning the office for $20 an hour, you want to spend more time on those billable hours making $800, right? It's the same thing here. We want to try and again, this is a progressive thing. I'm not saying this is overnight. I'm not saying you have to cancel all your sessions right now and hire five trainers. I'm not saying that. But there should be this kind of progression towards that. That's like, hey, I'm spending almost all of my time on these $10 and $20 tasks. And what I really need to do is start shifting to the higher value activities. Now, the problem is um, there's a mindset that gets in the way, right? And the mindset that gets in the way is typically a cost mindset versus an investment mindset, right? And the cost mindset is like, oh, I can't hire a trainer, or I can't hire an admin, or I can't hire whatever because it's a cost. and I can't afford it. And unfortunately, the cost mindset kind of keeps us our trainer hat on. The trainer thinks, oh, I don't have enough money in my account. I can't do that. And the investment mindset looks at that and says, wait a minute, I maybe can't not do that because if I don't do that, I'm going to stay where I'm at. And so the example I always give is this. And let's say you're a trainer and you're doing 40 sessions a week, right? Now that's tiring. I've done that before. And 40 hours of training is like 50 hours really. So I've done it before. It's tiring. And what I try to get people to do is not like, all right, you need to give up 40 sessions, but it's like if you can go from 40 to 30, right? If you can give up 10 sessions, if you can hire a part-time trainer or delegate to a trainer that you already have 10 of your sessions to go from 40 to 30, that's 10 hours a week, right? Let's say you pay 20 bucks an hour for a training session. That's around 800 bucks a month, right? That's where I got that 800 bucks. Okay. Now, what do you get back? You get back 40 hours a month, right? That's 40 hours a month to do business activity, to do things that are going to help you grow your business. Yes, you've replaced hours that you were working. You're not going to go home and sit on the couch and watch TV. You're going to replace those hours with business hours, with income producing hours, which I'll talk about in a second. And most of the time, when I structure it like that, when I say, hey, you're going to get 40 hours a month, do you think in 40 hours a month that you could make up what you would lose, right? It's really not losing, but make up what you would have to spend on the trainer to work those 10 hours. And everyone usually is like, yes, I can do that. You give me 40 hours in a whole month, I can do that. Now, the secret is maximizing the investment by knowing exactly what to do. And that's what a lot of people don't do. A lot of people don't grow and they don't want to take up these tasks because they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to do it. And really, at the end of the day, this is just a skill set that we're going to need to learn. But understand if we don't make these jumps and don't make these steps, we're going to stay where we're at. And the last thing I want to see you do is be, a trainer that owns a business because here's why. When I was a trainer grinding 40, 50, 60 hours a week when I was in San Diego, I lived in San Diego, right? That was really tiring. But at the time, I didn't have a lot of stress in my life because I didn't own anything, right? I didn't have payroll. I didn't have employees. I didn't have any of this stuff. I just trained. So I was just physically tired. But when I started to do it and I owned my gym, now I compounded. I compounded the stress of a lease, the stress of payroll, the stress of, you know, uh, you know, paying taxes and knowing numbers and all that stuff, and all that on top of working 40 hours a week compounded. And it really put me in a tough, bad spot. And I was really lucky to get out of it. But the problem is a lot of people don't. A lot of people stay there for a really, really long time. So this is going to help you get out of it, right? So here's like I try to keep things really simple for you guys. I try to not to make things too complex. So it's basically there's three components to help you grow your business, right? Okay. The first one is we need to know and learn how to get new clients. Okay. You need a predictable way to bring new people in on a consistent basis, right? The second thing is you need to keep the ones you got, right? It's way more expensive to get a new customer is than to keep an old one. And one thing in the beginning is sometimes you're good at keeping customers because you're there every second of the day. But then all of a sudden, if you're not there, if you don't put the right things in place, you don't hire the right people, put the right systems in place, that can start to, backslide pretty quickly, right? So you can't rely on just you being there all the time to keep the clients. So you need systems for that. And the last thing is planning your profits, right? You need to build profit intentionally and understand. I remember this quote: "Revenue feeds the ego, profit feeds the family." So that's why planning your profits is way more important than planning your revenue. Your profit is the money that you keep at the end of the month. Okay. Your revenue is just the money that you make. So if you're not doing a good job managing expenses, if you're not doing a good job creating, managing your critical drivers, which we'll talk about at the towards the end of this training, it's going to be a little tougher. So that's what we want to do. We want to master these three things so your gym becomes stable, scalable if you want, right? Scalable is like, multiple locations and growing to a larger revenue level and sustainable, something that you okay. So let me go through each of the three components. Like this is kind of like the overarching theme of, running a business. And I'm going to kind of get more granular on what you need to do immediately, right away at the end of the training. Okay. Okay. So this first thing is getting clients, right? You want predictable new customers. A lot of times people are, they're all over the map, right? Some days they get like one new customer, some days they get 10, and it's just like there's like this inconsistency of it. And a lot of times from most people, that have gyms run by a trainer, um, they they're always unhappy with the amount of new customers they're getting. Okay. So the first we can break this out like threes, right? So we can break up getting clients. I kind of almost think of it like a unit. How do we get new customers? There's really three things that we need to do. Okay. We need to understand our market. Who are we trying to bring into our gym? That's just a really, really important piece. And the problem is what a lot of people do is they just say, for everyone. They have this thing called the mirror test where they say, here are my customers. If they breathe on a mirror and it fogs up, they're my customer, right? At the end of the day, that gets really hard to market because you have all these different people. It's like try getting a high school athlete and a man in his 40s, with the same marketing. It's just not going to happen. And so what you want to do is you want to select, you want to pick the type of person that you want in your business. And then what you start to do in order to get new clients consistently, you start, creating offers, creating marketing, creating things specifically for that person, right? If you try to market to anyone, you end up attracting no one. And the clearer your market is, the easier everything becomes. I remember, when I really got clear on who my market was, my business just got a lot easier. It was, shoot, I don't know, a few years into it. And we made a decision to start marketing towards adults over 40, right? And we were just like, we had trained kids, we had trained adults, we had trained college people. And we were just like, all right, who's the market that we're for? Who's the market we're for? And we kind of came down to we're training the market that's 40 to 60 years old, that's stressed out, that needs to get fit, that needs to get in shape. That's our people. And all of our marketing went towards that. And everything shifted, everything changed. Right. And we were one of the first gyms to do this. I mean, kind of everyone now says like, yeah, we train people 40 plus. But we were one of the first gyms to do it back in the day. And so that was a really big shift for us. It's like getting clear on who our market was. The second thing is your message. And your message is simply, what do you say to that market? It's almost like, what do you need to say to get someone to raise their hand and say, this is for me. This is really, really important because yeah, you can say we train adults over 40 and sit and wait for them to come. And that's not going to happen. You have to put things out there that are going to resonate with those people. So, and here's what's not going to resonate with them. We do training in small groups of people, and you're never going to have more than six people in a session. That's more about what you do. And people don't care about what you do. They care about what's in it for them. So the things you put out, the offers you put out, the marketing you put out needs to be clear towards, I help this specific person do this specific thing that hopefully solves the problems of the people that they have. And I teach entire 6-week courses just on these three things, right? So I'm scraping the surface, just giving you the general outline of all of it specifically for this training, but I have lots of other courses and trainings that go way, way deeper into this, but I'm just giving you the overview for now. Okay, and the last thing is media, right? This is the places where you market. This is Facebook ad, your website, any referral things you do, email marketing, right? All the things that you where you market your business, right? One of the keys, don't rely on just one, right? There's a lot of people got really scared in 2016 when Facebook changed their algorithm and all of a sudden they were getting all these clients on Facebook and then they got zero clients from Facebook. They got very scared. And so a really, really important thing is not to rely on just one way to generate new leads or get new customers. Okay, and understand the last thing is what you want to do, especially because this stuff costs money, right? It costs money to run ads. It costs money to do all this stuff. And what you want to do is make sure that the things that you're investing in are actually working. right? So you could be spending all this money on Facebook and giving an agency money and not knowing if it's actually worthwhile to continue to do or not, right? So it must be tracked and measured. You must be tracking and measuring what the things that you're doing. If you're sending emails, are people responding to your emails? Are people clicking the links in your emails? Like, should you be tracking and measuring that? And I'll give you one like really important one is this, and this is like a little bonus nugget for you. I didn't have this planned. My bonus nugget is pay attention to what is actually already working. So write down the last 20 to 30 clients that you've brought into your gym. Okay. Well, instead of like thinking about all the marketing that you need to do and all the new things that you need to add, identify what actually is working and then start doing more of that. If you're getting clients from referrals, right? Okay, how do I do things that actually are going to get more referrals, right? And it makes marketing much more simple because all of you are getting new customers, right? Unless you have zero customers right now, but some of you, most of you watching this probably have customers. And at the end of the day, what you want to do is like identify like, all right, where do they come from? And then try to do more of that. It's real simple, right? It's not hard to do. But sometimes we just have to um, just have to see, what's right in front of us, right? Okay, so that's getting clients. Next is keeping clients. What are the things that you need to do as a business owner to keep clients? Your retention rate, I tell you, all this stuff is great. Yeah. But you'll never be able to outmarket a really, really poor attrition, right? If you have lots of attrition and you have clients leaving out the back all the time, it's going to be really hard to outmarket that. Most of us aren't as talented um, marketers to be able to outmarket that. So you got to ensure that you're keeping clients. So how do you keep clients? Okay, three things. Well, you got to have great training. You got to have great training. You can't have it's like the restaurant that's got crappy food. If a restaurant's got crappy food, there's a really, really it's very unlikely that someone's going to go back if the restaurant's got bad food, right? It's a they might even say, "Oh, the waitress was really cool, really nice, and my food was disgusting, but I can't wait to go back." It's just not happening. So now, hopefully, you watching this, you already do have that, right? But some of it now and this is where we get the trainer hat thing. Sometimes gyms have great training because they're a great trainer. And if you want to grow past you having to do everything, you have to be able to have great training when you're not doing the training. This is a big, important shift here. Okay. So you want great training. You want the service that you provide that matches the market you serve, right? So if you provide service and training for people that are 60 years old, well, you're probably not going to do the same thing that they would do in a CrossFit gym where like, doing muscle ups and doing all kinds of crazy things because those people aren't going to be able to do that type of stuff, right? So you want to make sure that the service you provide matches the market that you serve. The second thing is produces your results, right? It produces results your clients want. Now, results are not just weight loss, right? A lot of times it's like, your clients want to move better, your clients want to feel better, right? And if your workouts do that, then that's getting the results that they want. And then the last thing is your training is you're always trying to make it better, right? You're always trying to make it better. You're going out, you're learning, you're doing the things you need to do. You're bringing in experts to help you. You're delegating things to staff members for them to learn to make it better. Again, this can't come past to you going out to seminars. It's got to be how you're making the product that you provide for your clients better. Okay, so that's the first piece. It's like you got to have the first ingredient. You got to have great training. Okay. Next is you got to have great people doing the training. Okay. And the number one thing that you need to do in order to have great people on your team is to have a defined culture, a defined way that you behave in your business. So one of my mentors, a guy named Seth Godin, pretty famous marketer, he told me once in person at a workshop I was at, and he said, Vince, the most important job you've got is to drive the culture. Okay. And culture is is defined by values. Okay. So you should have some semblance of core values in your business. Hopefully those are defined. Hopefully those are communicated. And then you hire and fire people based on that culture, right? This is a real important piece of having great training is having great people actually running the training. Okay, and the last thing is you're doing your job to lead, manage, and hold those people accountable. If we're, the team is at the end of the day is only going to be as good as the person leading them. And that's where we get past. Like most trainers, like me, right, didn't start as great leaders. I didn't know anything about leadership at the time. And some of the things that we have to do as our business grows, there's skill sets that need to be developed, right? So leadership and management of people, right, is a skill that just needs to be developed over time. It doesn't just happen. It's got to be something that we set out to learn. Okay. And the last thing is there's a great client experience, right? You really have built a culture that cares about people, that people feel cared for, people, feel known. Because that's one of the things, like most of the people that follow me are small mom and pop shops, right? How do we differentiate from the big box gyms of the world, from the chains that have, 1,000 members and things like that? Well, we just do a better job of caring people. We give a shit more, right? And that's a really important piece. And that's got to start with you. That's got to start with you to be able to do that. Okay. Number two is you have systems that create consistency, right? So you have systems put in place that create that consistent experience that your clients are looking for. And then the last one is you build loyalty through intentional reach outs, right? And so, for example, intentional reach out would just be, or touch point reach out, whatever you call it, would be, hey, this person's on a membership that's 8 times a month. Last last month they only came 5 times. Well, an alarm bell should be going off in your head, on your spreadsheet, or wherever it is, and saying that person, if we don't touch base with them and get them back into the gym, they're very highly likely to quit. And so there are things that you're doing to keep people at bay, all for the matter of keeping clients, right? So that's the keeping clients unit. And the last unit is planning your profits. Remember, profits. Okay, profits is the money. We take our revenue, we subtract expenses. What's left over is our profits. That's the money we get to keep after you pay tax. All right, on that, right? So there's three real components for planning the profits. The first one is the vision, right? So where is the business going? Remember, there's a difference between vision and mission. So the vision is where the business, a destination. It's a picture of where you want the business to be in X time. And mission is more of what you do and why you do it. So a vision and a mission are two totally different things, but a vision is very, very important. Okay. What we want to do is once we clarify that, we want it to be known by the people on our team, right? Because if it's only known in your head, you're probably not going to be able to do it yourself. You're going to need other people to help you actually make that vision come true. And then what you're doing a good job, hopefully, is you're communicating. You're communicating and telling people where we're going, where we're going, where we're going. So that's the first piece of it. You got to have clarity. And sometimes again, don't worry about two and three on this one. If we don't have number one, a clear picture for what you want. So sometimes one of the biggest things I do is help people decide what they want. Right? You might not know, right? And that's okay, right? That's okay right now. I will say this. You may not know what you want in like 10 years. You may not know what you want in 5 years. You may not even know what you want in 3 years. But here's my advice. Try to get a clear picture of what you want in 1 year, right? If you're sitting here and just like, all right, I have no idea what I want. I don't know what here wants next. Well, we got a gym, we got a business. What do you want to look like in a year? How much money are you making in revenue in a year? How much profit is making, right? Who's on your staff in a year? How many clients do you have? Right. And just go granular. Just be like, this is what I want in 12 months. And again, if you can't figure out what you want in 5 years, that's fine. But please, please, please tell me what you want in one and get clarity on that as soon as possible. Right. And here the cool thing is if you never know what you want in 10 years, but you string together 10 really good 1 year plans, you're probably gonna end up in a good spot. Right. So just figure out 1 year. What is it? What is it going to be? Number two is there's goals. Again, there's a difference between vision and goals. Goals are the things that we have to achieve to help along the way to help accomplish the vision. Because you have clear goals that you're looking to achieve. The goals have regular checkpoints, and the goals that we achieve help us get towards the vision, as I said. All right. And the last piece of planning your profits, and this is a big one, guys. The last piece of planning your profits is knowing your numbers. And understand there's a difference between there's really two sets of numbers. Okay. The first set of numbers is what's called your critical drivers. Okay. And these are things like the things that lead down the path to tell you if you're going to win or lose in your money situation. Okay. So leads, how many trial memberships you got, how many consults. I kind of talk about those down here. So those are your critical drivers. The next set of numbers is your financials, right? This is the statements that you get from your accountant that tells you what happens with the money. But really, at the end of the day, the focal point for you should be on the critical drivers because those are the things that we can impact on the most. Okay. Once you get a statement from your accountant, it's done. It's over. It's like a game. It's like trying to change the result of a game after the final score. It's like you can't do it. But you can change after if you get this if you look at the scoreboard after the first quarter and all of a sudden you're like, we're getting our asses kicked, we need to make some changes. You can make changes. So the critical drivers are really, really powerful. And those need to be evaluated on a weekly basis. Okay. And then ideally what happens is there are actions taken based on what happens with these critical drivers. Right. So an example is let's say that you got zero leads last week. And you sit down and you're like, we got zero leads. It's like, okay, you got to do something, right? You got to do something about that. You got to like take some action, right? It's telling you exactly where the problem is. If you get zero leads, we're going to get zero new clients. The only guarantee in business is that you will lose clients. There's no guarantee that you'll keep the clients you got. Okay, so you gotta take action based on what the drivers are telling you, right? And that's what you focus on. A lot of people are like, I don't know what to focus on. I don't know what to do. I don't know like what I should be focusing on. I'm like, I get done with training and then I'm supposed to work on the business and I don't know what to do. Well, here it is. These are the four critical drivers for your business. Okay. New leads. How many people are kind of raising their hand? How many, again, I don't know if you do trial memberships. I don't know, 1 week trial, 2 week trial, whatever. Or you do consultations. Like I do consultations at my gym where we sit down with people for an hour. We talk about them and we sell them into a membership, right? So consults for us is big. How many new members did you get? And then how many members did you lose, right? You can really do a good job of growing your business by these core four, critical drivers. But you got to understand and know the numbers. You got to know these, and then you got to take action, okay, based on what those are telling you, okay, and that tells you what to focus on. So you don't have to worry about and answer the question and bury your head in the hands like I used to and be like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It's like, no, just your focus goes where the critical drivers are telling you. If you got an attrition problem, you got to work on that. You got a lead problem, you work on that. Okay. Um, and so most of the time, a business, fixing a business, when people come to me to fix their business, it comes down to we just need more qualified leads. We need to get more of them, or we need to get more of them to show up for the first time, right? Well, they ghosted me, or they don't speak English, and all that stuff, right? So they're showing, or they booked the appointment and they didn't show, they no-showed me, they ghosted me. So how do we get more of those people to show up? How do we get more people to buy at the right price? Right? That's a really important piece. That at the right price is a really important point. I threw that in there. That's a big one. Okay. Getting the ones to show up and buy at the right price. Um, and then getting as many people possible to stay longer. Right? Like how do we get people to extend? If they stay with us 12 months, how do we get them to stay for 13 or 14 or 15 months? And that's really at the end of the day, I can fix most businesses by, pulling one of those levers and dials. And like all this leads down to, I just kind of gave you a philosophy, right? It's a philosophy that I have on how to run a good gym, right? I've run a good gym for 18 years. I'm coaching hundreds of gym owners to run good businesses, and I call it the SPF life, right? SPF stands for simple, profitable, and fun. Right? I want your business to be simple. I want you not to have this complex machine that causes you so much stress. I want you to find a way to keep it simple, right? What the acronym, keep it simple, stupid. All right, find a way to keep it simple so the complexity brings down the level of stress in your life. Okay. But we wanted to make money, right? You want to be profitable, right? Your gym makes more money with less effort. And, hey, we're going to have more peace of mind when we got more money. You got a big chunk of cash in your checking account. This can give you a little peace of mind. I know this is a whole nother gamut, right? I could go down. I have a very, very vast education and mindset and the proper way to think about things, and understand that financial and big chunks of cash and cash flow will bring peace of mind, but not the only thing that will bring peace of mind. Whole nother gamut. We'll get to that some other time. Okay. And then fun, right? Fun. I want you to enjoy the ride and do it. I want you to like this. I don't want this to be like something where I had periods where I was sitting in my car not wanting to go in. I really did. It sucked. Right. And I don't want that. I don't want that you'd be, I don't want to be "Oh, another 4 a.m. session, another like just like I want you to enjoy the ride. And here's the other thing. It's like I can't honestly say that someone can come to me 10 years later and says, I've been waking up at 4 and staying till 7 p.m. and missing all my kids' activities and doing all this stuff, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I don't think it's there. I don't think that exists, right? We have fun when we have freedom, right? When you're working in your business, but you're train and you're maybe you're still training sessions, but you're training sessions when you want. You're training sessions with who you want. And you're working with people that you enjoy, not these idiot staff members that you hate. I want you to have fun and enjoy the ride and enjoy the freedom, with your family. And I've, again, I've been able to do that in my life. I have 3 kids. I've been able to be with them for a really long time. I've been an involved dad, and it's the best gift I've been able to give myself and my family. And I did that because of the business I was able to create. If I didn't create the business that gave me that freedom, I wouldn't have what I have today, right? And so I want to provide that. That's kind of what I'm after. I'm after this SPF life, for gym owners, right? And I'm fully in this game for gym owners, right? That's kind of what I do. I don't focus on, other business owners or anything like that. Like I'm a gym owner. I'm still a gym owner. I have this unbelievable, desire and passion to help gym owners. And here's why. I'll give you like the, 10,000 foot view of why I do what I do, right? I believe that owning a gym is work that matters. You make people fit and strong and healthy. And when people are fit, strong, and healthy, they live better lives. They lead people around them better, right? And so it's not just the client that you're helping train, it's the people around them that are getting impacted. It's like I know that my wife, who trains at my gym every morning, I know she's a better mom and a better wife and a better human being because of her workouts at my gym. I know it, 100% fact. And I know that the clients that you're training, they are probably better in their lives because of it. And so my job, right, as a business coach, right, is to help gym owners have less stress, make more money, so you can provide a better experience and help more people to make the world better. It's all about your clients. I am trying to help your customers. That's what I'm trying to do, and the family members of your customers. That's my goal, right? But I'm going to do it through you. I'm going to do it through helping you create a better business. Okay, what to do next? Okay, just going back to the business stuff. Um, the place to start is what's getting in the way. Like what's the biggest bottleneck, in your business? And I don't know what that is for you. I don't know if that's just you're not willing to take your trainer hat off, or you just generally have a lead problem, or you have client issues, or you got trainers that just suck and they all need to be fired. But the goal is to identify what the biggest bottleneck, in your business is. What's getting in the way? Okay. The second thing is you need to do what are the 3 things that you need to do to create a breakthrough? Most of the time, a good plan is 3 things. Like that's why you see me do a lot of 3 stuff here. Simple, easy, clean. So identify the 3 things you need to do to create the breakthrough. And I'll give you an example here. So let's say the bottleneck is getting more qualified leads, because I do know that a lot of you guys struggle with that one. Um, there's Here's an example of 3 things that we would do. Strategic moves, not tactical things like this, but strategic. Remember, there's a difference. Strategy, tactics is just throwing a bunch of shit against a wall. Strategy is a plan for success. What are we going to do? And when you have that plan, you're going to be more certain. You're going to be more clear on what do you actually need to do. Okay. So example, and this is just an example, three strategic moves to help us get more qualified leads. One, we're going to create a new offer that's going to attract our ideal clients. Who are the people that we want? Okay. And what are the offer that we could put out there? Okay. What's a new offer? Maybe we have a crappy offer that doesn't work. We need to create a new one. All right. Get 2 to 3 predictable ways to generate leads for that offer. Okay. So maybe we only have one way. We need to get 2 to 3 ways that we're generating leads for that offer. And then we're going to install a pre-qualification process so only real buyers get on your calendar, right? So that's three moves, three things that we can do to help get more qualified leads. And now we're not going to do all that tomorrow. That's our strategy. And that could be the things that you focus on for the next 30, 60, 90 days. But now you have clarity around what is your plan? What is your plan to succeed? The third thing is to execute the plan, right? To actually do these things. Okay. And the fourth one is get someone who hold you accountable to it, right? I'm going to tell you right now, I have been had a coach. I have been in mastermind groups. I have done this almost my entire career, and the times that I have flown solo have not been good. Most business owners, that's why you see business masterminds and coaching programs, all of that, all really successful business owners that you know have someone holding them accountable and helping them and guiding them through with what to do. So I advise you to do the same. So leading into that, how can I help you? Well, you can book a call with my team. We'll lead you through this exact process. This exact process is creating and figuring out what is the biggest bottleneck in your business. What is the thing standing in the way? Okay. Then we'll help you identify the three things you need to do to create the breakthrough. So that's the first two things that we'll do with you on the call. Okay, I'm gonna lead you through on the call this exact process. Okay. You'll get the plan, right? You'll get the three things that you need to do. And then you can decide that you want to implement the plan on your own. Like, "Hey, I got this, Vince. I can do this. I can do this." Or you can hire us to get it done, likely better and faster. So hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you learned a couple things about running a better business and a better gym. And we take our trainer hat off and we put our business hat on. Not to say that you can't train anyone anymore. Okay, but you're going to live a better life. You're going to have more freedom. You're going to have more fun when you can put that business hat on. So I hope to see you. I hope to see you at one of my events. I hope to see you on a call or whatever soon. But I'm super grateful you're here. And if you would like to book that call with us, the call's free. If you'd like to book the call with the team, the link is somewhere on this video. Not sure where, but find it. Book a call with the team, and they'll get you started on the right track. Thank you so much. Grateful that you're watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.